Well, we have a really beautiful light rain going on today. And I thought I would take you on a little tour of what has been growing on. It's been a couple of weeks now. Our schedule's been crazy, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to make videos. But for those of you that are not new, welcome back. My name is Melissa, and this is a jackalope farm. So let me take you through the garden. Got some of our tarps out right now, collecting mulberries. That is our mulberry tree. It is massive. The rabbit pasture pens have grown in very nicely. They are not out here right now. Wouldn't want them getting all waterlogged. And we have a lot of change going on in the garden. You have to excuse the fact that it hasn't been mowed. So last weekend, I didn't mow, and I did it on purpose. It was due to be mowed a week ago. So the problem, though, was that I hadn't seen any honeybees in some time. And I just happened to notice that our clover was beginning to flower. And it was actually attracting a few honeybees. So I let it go. And of course, now it's raining this weekend. And it's starting to look like a jungle. So hopefully I don't piss off any of the neighbors. But oh well. It's supposed to be sunny tomorrow. After everything dries out, I'll get everything mowed. It'll be back to looking like normal. Peppers. Those are Hungarian wax. I gotta be honest, I'm not that impressed with the flavor. I probably will not grow these next year. But they are at least producing quite a bit. Garlic. I harvested garlic scapes last weekend. And chopped those up. Had them on a pizza already. They're really good. This is my zucchini bed, although I have a slight issue. So I don't really worry too much about cross-pollination. At least it hasn't been an issue for me in the past. But last year, cross-pollination definitely happened. Okay, so my zucchinis and my yellow straight necks, which I'll take you back there to see in a minute, must have cross-pollinated more than likely with my sugar pie pumpkins. And they're acting all kinds of crazy. So these are getting huge. They have little tendrils coming off of them. But the fruit is at least zucchini in shape on this side. I'll show you the others in just a second that are not squash shaped. They're, well, not yellow squash shaped. They're more like a pumpkin. My artichokes are getting nibbled on by something. Not quite sure what. Got black cherry tomatoes. A black from Tula tomato. These are California wonder peppers, but they have really slowed down, so this bed is struggling. Now, it is possible, if you watch my other videos, I made a video about planting these beds with wine cap mushroom spawn. I had one bucket that had some mold contamination, and I planted it anyway. I'm like, what the heck? What could go wrong? Well, these aren't really producing any more fruit since I planted them out here. Doesn't mean that it's connected, but doesn't mean it's not, right? But my other beds, which were totally fine, the peppers are also struggling a little there, but I seem to be getting at least more fruit off of them. Ruger, get out of there. Either Thessaloniki or Thessaloniki tomatoes. I'm not sure how they're pronounced. Those are pretty cool. I explained in a different video that these are a really unique heirloom because they have no market value, because they bruise so easily, but they are one of the most delicious tomatoes, or at least the guy I bought them from claims, so we'll see. These are coral bell peppers, and they are flowering, so that's good news. I'm pretty excited about these. Roma tomatoes, getting massive. And no, I have not gone through and pulled the suckers off, and if you don't know what a sucker is, here, I'll show you. Anytime you have a tomato plant where you have new growth coming off from like the armpit of a branch, you want to just pop that off. It's not going to hurt the plant, okay? But what it does is it allows the plant to continue focusing on the growth that it does have and setting more flowers. These are purple beauty peppers. Well, I gotta say they look pretty stunted. Not sure if that's just me or not. Talked to my buddy Mike. I think if I remember correctly, I think he said his peppers were looking stunted too. Or maybe it was my friend Liz. I don't remember. One of you two chime in if you watch this. These are Wisconsin 55 tomatoes. They're looking fantastic. I am determined to trim back the asparagus patch this weekend because it is out of control. I have many types of onions planted in this bed. They were started from seed. What's looking really good are the ones I threw out here that had survived a overwinter in the pantry. These are Elsa Craig onions. It's a Scottish heirloom. So I'm hoping to get seed from them this year. Now, I'm not great at growing potatoes, and I know some of you watching may tell me what I'm doing wrong here, and that's fine. But in a rush, I threw my potatoes into this bed, and we'll see how they do. And I will probably put some boards across, because you know how it has the ribbing over it still. That was for a bug net from last year I never pulled out, but I'll probably put some boards across, and then add some more straw and amendments in like a lasagna style layer. So hopefully we can even get more out of it than what we have. Got some carrots. These are tender sweets, although when I switched to another packet of seed that was older to finish this bed, very little germination occurred, so that seed packet is clearly bad. This bed is carrots as well. A little more exotic though. There was a red Kyoto variety in here, and then also a black carrot. Not the black nebula, it was something else. These are Paris Market carrots. Those are for the dogs. All right, I got to give this some support here. These are cukes in this bed. Those are supposedly the vining variety. That's a pickling type. And then these are supposed to be a bush variety, but they have tendrils coming off of them, so I will get them something to hold on to. Then I've got honey nut squash. And every day I come out here and I help them vine up. They don't vine up this cleanly all on their own. You're going to have to help them. Dixie Queen watermelons. Oh, that's a bad dog. He broke into the rabbit pen. Just picking all these up. I got sugar pie pumpkins, looking fantastic. A couple of Tigger melons planted in here. They're way behind though. I planted them from seed, and with the way our season was going, we'll just see. These are red Chinese noodle beans. You get like a foot long, and they will vine up the trellis. I have to get a section of cattle panel cut and put in here, so I can actually wrap up my pole beans, because they're all laying down, at least in this bed. If you're wondering why there's cups on everything, and they're knocked over because we have red squirrels that come in here now. So originally I was cupping over all of my beans to stop the robins when they're picking worms in the morning. They will also opportunistically take a bean seed that is in the process of germinating, and they'll just run off with it. So last year I ended up replanting about 600 beans. This year, I used these clear plastic cups. I didn't have to poke a hole in them or anything. The plants have been fine. And I cover the spot that I put a seed in, and I just put a little bit of mulch around the edges, and that'll hold the cup in place. And that allows the plant to germinate without being harassed by at least the robins. Clearly, that's not keeping the red squirrels off of it, because they come through here and knock them over like bowling pins. But I'm telling you, if you have issues with things like birds stealing your seeds before they even germinate, get some clear plastic cups. It really helps. These are purple jalapeno peppers. Pretty cool. Everything in the foreground is a bush bean. The ones along the fence are pole beans. And again, they're only laying down because I didn't give them something to trellis up. So these are supposed to be yellow straight neck squash. Now that one, that fruit looks the appropriate shape. Here's the other one. These do not. Yeah, so even though I took seed from a few different plants here, some of them definitely got cross-pollinated. That little guy's probably okay. This plant's probably okay. We'll see. I'm not too worried about it, honestly. We'll eat it. These are my miniature blue popping corn. Really excited about those. Let's see how these are doing. Oh, not much germination going on in this bed. Wonder why that is. It's all the same dirt. Very odd. Those should have already been greened up. Probably have to replant that bed. There's still time in the season for bush beans. So if you've got an open spot in your garden and you don't know what to do with it, or something already failed early on and you're frustrated, don't give up. There are definitely a few things that you could still plant and you will get a harvest from them. Beans are an easy one. We eat beans like crazy, so you'll always hear me push for beans. I know some people don't care for them. So along this fence on the outside, we have pole beans right underneath the trellis. In the foreground are bush beans. I have some nasturtiums planted in here. I bought a couple different varieties from Baker Creek. I wish I remembered what they were called. I'm sorry. I've got a few different varieties. The ones that are along the trellis are supposed to vine something like 9 to 12 feet, I think it said. I hope they do. I'm excited for that. So the leaves are edible, and when the plant grows in all the way, the leaves get a little bigger. So you get essentially what can be used as a wrap. They'll be like street taco size, but that's fine. I have more Chinese noodle beans over here. You can see the cups have been knocked over. More beans. Let's see. Any coming in yet? Not yet. We are so far behind because our May was goofy. Normally here in Wisconsin, we're able to plant our gardens out in early, mid-May, right? That did not happen. That did not happen at all. And we went from cold and rainy, horrible weather straight to 100 degrees. I wish I was kidding. So it has been a wild spring so far. Not very enjoyable. All right, I'm going to take you to the front yard, and I'll show you what we have going on out there. I actually really don't mind like a gentle rain. It's really nice. So, in the large front garden bed, stay bed dog. Large front garden bed, we had two 25-foot by 4-foot beds that had not been planted yet. And with the way things are going economically, and I probably don't have to really get into that with you, I'm assuming everybody is well aware of supply chain issues. Well, because of that, we're genuinely concerned about being able to get feed for the animals long term. So in those two remaining beds, I just went ahead and seeded them with red Garnet Amaranth, okay? And I think that's probably going to be the way to go. Because even if they don't grow out to like their full potential, planting them now, and we're almost in July, it'll be fine. Because I'll still be able to feed the plant, because the entire plant is edible. Let me flip this around here and show you the front yard. All right, so we got the strawberry bed. It's been struggling with the heat, and it's not even in direct sunlight. Pollinator bed is looking fine. Pond looks amazing. Although I have to clean the filter out again. Constantly cleaning the filter out of this thing for the waterfall, so that's why it's not running right now. The sweet alyssum is really growing in nicely, as you can see. It's starting to overhang the edges of the pond, which is what I wanted. Looking good. I'm going to have to clean that filter out a little bit later. So this is the front corn bed. And I've got double red sweet corn planted in 3 of the rows. And they are succession planted. That's why this is taller than that one and that one. And that's intentionally done so I can hopefully harvest in a little more controlled fashion. All right, so in these 2 remaining beds, I seeded last weekend red Garnet Amaranth, and I hope you can see that because it is coming up. Ignore the weeds. Coming up all over the place. Although some places not so much. I'm probably going to reseed this area. Probably lost a few to the birds. That's all right. Yeah, so I'm excited about this. So this is a large space to have just growing in ground. And what I intend to do at the end of the season is I'm going to cover this with a silage tarp to kill off any weeds that are underneath it. Because this is a massive space to have to weed by hand in the spring. Because all of these weeds will end up taking over. So I'll dig them out before I cover them up with a silage tarp. And then hopefully anything that sprouts up just won't have a chance. So impressed with this corn. I grew this out last year so I could have seed for this year. So even though I got a packet of double red sweet corn seeds from, I think it was Baker's Creek last year, it wasn't enough to plant a bed, so I only grew it out for seed. We never even tried it, so hopefully it's good. We've got pumpkins planted in the middle of this bed. Just how cool, huh? We've lost a few to animals. Sometimes they get knocked over by the wind. But usually they do stand themselves back up once it gets sunny again. We have a few cherries coming in on the trees this year, not very many. Last year we had significantly more. And honestly, I got to get these sprayed with some neem again. They're looking really good. These are our Tart Cherries. This one's got more on it. And then we've got sweet cherries planted along the road. Now, we spent a decent amount of money on the ones that are nice and green. Okay. We got them from a nursery. And then we spent still some money, but we basically threw it away, $150 or so, on 3 trees from Home Depot that are dead as doornails. So when I was in the process of planting them, I kind of busted open one of the root balls on them and discovered that all they have in there is basically a stick with maybe a tiny root or 2 coming off of them. Pretty pissed off about that, to waste $150 on 3 trees that were destined to die. Joe got some more work done on the farm stand. We don't have shelves yet. This window lifts up. I'm going to leave it closed right now. It's kind of a 2-person job. The door's on though. All the boards are on. We got a couple of more trees, fruit trees, and that's because our apricot died over winter. So there was also space next to it. So we're going to plant 2 peach trees over there. Show you the pear, the big pear, loaded with fruit. Gonna have to spray it at some point so we can at least get the fruit that's within our reach. It's covered. I've got more amaranth along the fence, butterfly bush along the fence, and then I also planted things like yarrow, some columbine in the foreground, and some of it's coming up, but really this needs some attention. I gotta pull weeds. Not sure what decided to actually germinate. Maybe you can tell me. I don't know what that is. Right there. How you doing, bad dog? Hi. Yeah, I definitely need to mow and get the weed whacker out. Oh, wow, that looks really pretty. There's little yellow flowers everywhere. Good. I'll give something for the bees. But I am going to definitely mow the yard tomorrow. Birds are up there fighting over the mulberries. Got apples coming in on this tree. The tree watering bags have already made a significant difference compared to last year, although we are losing a ton of fruit on this one still. And that's okay. We had a nasty windstorm that came through. I have to come up and pick these up. We still have some on the tree that look good. And I don't see any fruit on this one. It's okay. It was struggling last year. If we don't get... No, there is something. Here we go. Maybe that's a plum. And then our little Granny Smith apple tree. Ooh, I have to come over here and spray her. Got hit by something. Hopefully it'll be all right. This is a plum Joe bought last year, and it kind of got neglected before getting put in the ground, so half of it died off, but half of it's still alive. And a plum he insisted on buying too. It's looking good. This is that apple. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not the apple tree. This is a plum, I think. I didn't pull that off on purpose. It's just super weak. We really wanted to focus on the orchard this year to make it healthier, because last year it was definitely struggling. This is probably my favorite apple tree that we have. They're delicious. Berry patch needs some TLC, but the blackberries are covered in hundreds of flowers, so that's a good sign. I just got to get in here and clean it out. The red Garnet Amaranth and black oil sunflower patch looks amazing. This is quite tall. It's all animal food here. And then in these front planters, look what I'm talking about. Like, I got clover flowers everywhere. So in these front planters, though, I have Love Lies Bleeding Amaranth. They have not started to flower yet, but they are going to cascade over the sides. And then there's a bicolored butterfly bush in the middle. And then I had some sunflower volunteers pop up, and I just left them. I think it's going to look awesome once that's fully in bloom. Pretty cool. All right, I'm hiding in the greenhouse from the rain. So that's pretty much it as far as the tour goes. The animals are doing fine. I've got, I don't think I updated actually. The 24 eggs that I had in the incubator last month, none of them made it. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was because they were collected on super hot days, or the birds were stressed, or what, but they were duds. So I have more eggs in now, and I think I'm on like day 6 or something to go. And hopefully we get more. The birds that did hatch out, they're doing great. So that's good. I'm probably going to be getting a couple more rabbits from my rabbit lady. I was supposed to go do that this weekend, but with the rain today and only one day this weekend to really work on the big projects, I'm probably going to have to postpone that. So hopefully I don't miss out on an opportunity to get some more rabbits from her. The other thing I really wanted to get a hold of this year was the composting. So I have to finish those other 2 compost bins. I have like a 3-bin system. The first one is the only one that's done. And my pile is pretty big, so it's time to get the other 2 ready so that way I can actually rotate them properly. And I think it's really going to be important to next year's garden and any of the gardens going forward that I have the ability to make my own amendments. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.